was not expecting this to drop this fast, but as the Leafs lost their 6th game in a row yesterday, we all felt that changes were looming. We just didn't know what was going to happen or when. We had the feeling, we heard talks about Babcock getting fired, and as of about 4:30 today, Coach Mike Babcock has been fired by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Sheldon Keefe, former head coach of the Toronto Marlies, has been appointed 31st head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wow. I mean, I understand. You know, everyone's calling for Babcock. I called it. I don't think anybody saw it coming this fast. People thought by December. People thought by, if things are still going sour by the new year, you kind of change things up. Look, the Leafs just lost 6 in a row. They're on the road for quite a while. Sheldon Keefe's coming in with kind of a hurt team, emotionally and physically. However, this situation reminds me a lot of Dwayne Casey and Nick Nurse. Hear me out for a second. Mike Babcock, what was Dwayne Casey? Well, he was around for a while, brought the team to a certain point, but just couldn't take them to that next step, right? That was the problem with Dwayne Casey to bring in Nick Nurse, and also Dwayne Casey was awful with, in-game adjustments and stuff like that. He was always stuck with the same rotation. You guys kind of see where I'm going here. Nick Nurse, on the other hand, amazing in-game adjustments, amazing with the players, and put the team to that next level. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard, but that's the case there. Here, it's a little bit different because Mike Babcock had to get fired and it was mid-season. But Mike Babcock, as we all know, is stubborn as heck. Did not want to move anything. Continued to play Cody Ceci 22-plus minutes. I don't know what he played yesterday. I don't even want to look at it. But we're all confused why Matthews didn't play in the third period in certain games and why this didn't happen and all that. And Mike Babcock would never budge. Never. Now you bring in Sheldon Keefe, a guy who's been with the Leafs organization since 2015, where he was brought on as the Marlies coach, and obviously, back in 2018, brought the Marlies the Calder Cup championship. And with a record, his record down in the Marlies since he's come in 2015 is remarkable. 199, 89, and 22-9. Well, that's overtime losses and shootout losses combined, but overall, we're all hearing that Sheldon Keefe was the guy. We all had that feeling that if Babcock was to go, Sheldon Keefe would just come in, slide into the slot, and then kind of see what happens from there. Sheldon Keefe has helped develop a lot of these young players from the Leafs. If I'm not mistaken, he was around for the Willie Nylander development down in the Marlies. He was there for Kasperi Kapanen's time down there, Andreas Janssen, the newest guy who came up, Pierre Engvall, Frederic Gauthier. All these guys are very familiar with Sheldon Keefe. So it's not a new guy coming in. And even Dmitry Timashov as well, Nick Patan a little bit. This team has seen a lot of Sheldon Keefe in the past. And it's going to be very interesting to see not only how he coaches, but how the team reacts to Babcock getting fired and how Sheldon Keefe is now the coach. They play in Arizona tomorrow, a team that has not allowed many goals at all. The first place team in goals against this year. And it's like 2.2. It's insane. They're 13-7. They've won a couple games in a row. They're like 7-3 in their last 10. They're feeling great. And you're in their barn. And with Austin Matthews playing in hometown, you have a new coach behind the bench, and the Leafs looking to try and prove something. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens tomorrow in Arizona. Now, do I think this is going to change everything? Do I think the Leafs are going to turn things around? I can sit here and say, honest to God, I have no idea. We heard a lot of things. Oh, they're not playing for Babcock anymore. They're not really doing it anymore. They're not playing with any energy. You bring in a guy like Sheldon Keefe, who's won it down in the Marlies, and obviously with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, he was an OHL guy as well, with going back to Kyle Dubas' days. And he's only 39, so he's a younger guy. He's getting his first head coach gig in the NHL. And let's see how it goes. I'm not opposed to having Sheldon Keefe as the new coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm excited to have him as a coach because it's not like it's a new face. The guys know him, right? And a lot of these guys have played under Sheldon Keefe for a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even more than 2 years. So it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how this team reacts. Obviously, I think when you see interviews probably with the players about, Babcock getting fired, you're going to hear probably the same thing, right? from everybody. Well, it's sad to see Coach Babs go. He's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. But it's great to see Coach Keefe here. He's a great guy, awesome talent. Won a lot in the minors. Can't wait to have him here. Can't wait to get started. I mean, you're going to hear that same thing from every single player. So don't really be surprised if you do. But I'm intrigued to see what this team looks like right from puck drop tomorrow. And is Cody Ceci going to be playing 22 minutes a night? Is guys like Travis Dermott, who knows Sheldon Keefe very well, is he going to be getting a lot more integral time? It's going to be very intriguing to see how Sheldon Keefe changes this team around. I mean, I don't know how much he's going to change. I don't know how much he's going to adjust. I don't really know his coaching style. If you guys are big Marley fans or whatnot, and you guys know Sheldon Keefe very well from watching the Marlies a lot, then let me know if you guys have any idea what his coaching strategies are. Because Coach Babcock is, I don't know, just dump and chase. And, I don't know. With the Leafs, they have a lot of injuries right now. So it's still going to be a little difficult. But I don't know, guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. This is not really a me discussion. This is more of we're all here to discuss. And that's what the comments are for. You guys are going to go crazy down in the comments about what your thoughts are on this replacement. I mean, first off, what do you think about Coach Babcock getting fired? Do you think it was about time? Do you think they didn't give him enough time? Or, do you just not agree with it in general? And if you answer any of those questions, I don't care. It's just, it's Sheldon Keefe is the new coach. What do you think about that? Do you like the move because he's inside the organization? He's been around a lot of these players a lot, so he knows them very well. Do you not like it because he has no experience in the NHL and you're firing a guy mid-season or not mid-season, but like 23, 24 games into the season, and you're struggling and everyone's hurt and it's not a good situation. You're doing a good coach in a terrible situation. Or are you just really excited to see what he does? There's lots of questions, guys. Go nuts in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the whole situation that's happened in the last, hour and a half. It's been crazy. But guys, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens now. Because we've all been preaching. And another thing that I'm excited to see. On back-to-backs, I don't know how many more the Leafs have because they played a ton of back-to-backs. But now with Sheldon Keefe at the helm, let's say you play a New Jersey Devils one night and then a Boston Bruins the next. Do you play your backup? Let's say it's Kaskisuo for right now. Do you play him in game one against the Devils because that's the team that you probably want him facing, and then have Freddie ready for the Boston Bruins? Is Sheldon Keefe a guy that can do that, or is he going to be like Babcock and do that one? Freddie plays the first game, Kaskisuo plays the second game, and that whole spiel. Because I hate that. But, again, I want to hear your guys' thoughts, guys. There's lots of things we can discuss down in the comments below, and this is for you guys to have fun with it and go crazy down in the description. I'm excited to see what this team looks like. I feel like it's just game one of 82 now. Obviously, it's just a new coach. You haven't gotten any new players, but it changes a lot. Babcock there's a lot of problems within the locker room. I mean, we assume. And now with Sheldon Keefe here, we've heard he's a great guy. Obviously, he's won a lot in the AHL. So I'm very intrigued to see what this guy has in store for us and where he can take this team. The 9-10-4 Leafs. What can Sheldon Keefe make of this? Is it going to be the same thing we saw with Babcock and they're going to be terrible? Or are they going to turn things around? It has happened a lot in hockey, guys. You know that. John Tortorella went to Columbus. Everyone's like, wow, this is stupid. Why are you getting this idiot a job? They make the playoffs, I think, in back-to-back years, right? And there's been lots of other, moves. Obviously, Barry Trotz. Bruce Boudreau, a great guy, in Washington, whatnot. They make the move to Barry Trotz. Bang, they win a Stanley Cup, right? Now, it wasn't right away, obviously, but there's been lots of head coaches changes that, they've questioned in the past. But I don't think this one was very questionable. Obviously, there's been a lot of, heat at Babcock for the back-to-backs, the consistent playing time of Cody Ceci, the lack of ice time for your big guns, and I don't know what Keefe is going to do what he's going to do coming into this, but I'm very excited to find out. All right, so guys, that is going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video and you guys like or dislike the signing, or what do you want to call it? Transaction, let's call it. Smack the like button anyways, all right? I really do appreciate that. You guys hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your guys' thoughts on Mike Babcock getting fired, Sheldon Keefe taking over. Everything of... What's going on? What is that? I think it's a pen mark. I don't know what the heck that is. What your guys' thoughts are on Babcock getting fired and Keefe replacing him. What are your guys' thoughts on both of those moves? Let me know in the comments below. All right. Twitter is down below for myself. If you don't feel comfortable firing in the comments, you can message me on Twitter. DM me on Twitter, guys. Link is in the description for the TO Sports Talk Twitter down below. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition as well. They're not really having an issue. They're at home taking on the Orlando Magic later tonight. 7:30 tip-off there at Scotiabank Arena. Raptors looking for their second straight victory and to stay perfect at home. And as for our Leafs, as we've already mentioned earlier, they play tomorrow night. It's a 9 o'clock puck drop. Austin Matthews going home to Arizona, taking on the Coyotes. Again, like I said, they're probably the much favorited team in this game. They're at home. They've been playing great. They keep the puck out of the net. The Leafs are having trouble scoring. What are we going to see tomorrow? I think it's going to be a great hockey game, and I have this weird feeling the Leafs are going to come out flying and come away with a victory in Keefe's debut. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the description below. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys then.